I mean, I know you're only a young lad, but you've been involved in a game of football like that before?
No, not very often. It's a big game. We knew what it was before we come into it. Big stadium, obviously they're unbeaten, but we thought we could come here and get a result, and yeah, we did that.
Well, Nicholas, I said crazy, chaotic. How would you sum that up?
Yeah, very happy. Yeah? It was a difficult time for everybody in the team, but now, we're coming back slowly, and I'm very happy to score 3 goals.
Yeah, I bet you are. What does it mean to have that much ball in your hands? Because it hasn't been the easiest start, has it?
Yeah, very difficult, but life is like this. But now, my first hat-trick, so I'm very happy I did it in the biggest club in England and everywhere.
And he's going to deserve that Player of the Match award, Cole, isn't he, when he gets it a bit later?
Yeah, of course he is. Obviously, it's been a difficult start for him. No hiding it. But yeah, it was brilliant tonight, and just needs to work hard on the training pitch, keep his head down, and yeah, I think he'll get many more hat-tricks.
You say work harder?
Of course, you can always work harder.
Yeah, always need to improve, always need to work harder, always. So we continue working. Now this is past, so we forget about it and move forward.
What are you thinking in the early part of that match? Spurs started the game brilliantly, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, amazing stadium, amazing fans. But we needed to fight and try to win the game, and so we did. So we're very happy.
Cole, it almost felt like a couple of tackles went in, particularly that one from a doggy, the first one from a doggy that was booked for, and it almost lit a fire under Chelsea. It kind of got you going. Fair or not?
Yeah, I think in the early stages we were losing too many second balls. When the balls were bouncing at 50-50, I think he was getting on top of us and obviously breaking. So we needed to fix that, and I think we grew into the game as it went on. So yeah, pleased.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds daft, but actually as they go down to 10 and then 9, do you feel the pressure growing in a way? Is it quite difficult playing against 9 and picking maybe the timing for your runs?
Obviously, it's easier playing against 9 men.
Right, thanks.
But you know what?
No,
but,
I know. Yeah.
We knew we needed to win the game when it went down to 10, and then when it went down to 9, especially, we knew we needed to score. If we keep pressing, making our runs in behind because the line was so high, we'd get in, and eventually we managed to get in.
Yeah, for you, Nicholas, what is the challenge with them? I mean, not many teams when they go down to 10 and then 9 men play with such a high line. So what is the challenge for you then as a striker in terms of timing your runs?
Yeah, it was difficult because they were really maintaining the line and really playing high, but we have quality players that give us the ball, and he did, so we won.
Do you think this is a breakthrough for you personally and the team?
Yeah, it's for everybody. We're dreaming about this, playing big games and winning big games, and so now we continue working hard, and the confidence is coming slowly.
OK, so you've got the match ball, you're going to need a spare hand here.
Yeah.
Because Cole, who gave the assist, didn't you, for the last one? Yeah. And now you're more than happy, aren't you?
Of course.
To hand over the player of the match to Nicholas Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sparky. He's a confident boy, isn't he, it seems?
I love it, man. Love the vibes, love what they're doing, love the energy. They're happy with the result. So, clearly, they had a lot on their mind that they wanted to get out, and it was a good result for them.
You will know better than anyone in this room what he will be feeling right now.
A lot of joy, weight off his shoulders, knowing that he was able to have a game like today. I don't think it's easy, it's never easy to score goals, but in moments like today, in big games and nights like this, to put 3 goals in the back of the net for your team to win the game, you do feel like, yes, you know what, looking forward to next week. I want to keep this going now. I want to score more goals, so I'm happy for the guy.
But would there have been a period in that second half where the pressure might have been growing, the sense that we have to win this game? They're down to 9 men.
Yeah, I think you could see it from Pochettino from the side. I think there was almost like a worried look, trying to cajole his players, couldn't quite understand how, Tottenham was still getting chances, from set pieces, but I mean, the thing about Tottenham with the high line, I just thought it'd be inevitable that, Chelsea would go on and sort of score lots of goals in the game, but they did, but it came really late. And you think of those chances that they had for Bentancur and Son late on, this could have been a completely different game or certainly at the end, and, the final result. I think it would have been a really dark night for Chelsea if they drew this game 2-2 on the back of playing against 9 men.
But that high line, I think everyone is going to go away talking about that. The smile on your face is thinking about it.
It was mad.
Can you explain it to us, what the thinking would have been? Because it looked like just Chelsea it was just a matter of time. It felt like chance after chance.
But I think we're probably all watching it thinking, this is mad.
But was it genius?
It almost was. It really almost was, because it's okay looking at the scoreline now, and yes, the goals came from that. But Tottenham kept themselves in the game for so long. And I must say, the goalkeeper was absolutely sensational. He talked about the sweeper keeper. I've never seen anything like that. And he's been absolute revelation since he come to Tottenham, the goalkeeper. And you couldn't help it that at some stage he was almost willing Tottenham on. So with 9 men to try and sort of hang on and maybe nick something at the end, because it would have just been bizarre. But the way Postecoglou said them, I was actually looking at it thinking, and we'll look at it again, but I was thinking, I hope Franco Baresi and Arrigo Sacchi watch this or see this. I've never seen anything like. I've never seen AC Milan push up that high with 11 men. These with 9 men, it's something I've never seen. But it was absolutely a brilliant watch.
We'll get there in the end through everything, but really we have to also reflect on what was a really good start for Spurs. It looked that Chelsea were all at sea for those opening moments that saw Spurs get themselves in front.
Absolutely. What we're looking at here is Kulusevski goals, calm from the defence, the playing out from the back, and I think Chelsea were finding it difficult to press it in these moments. You see Maddison manipulating the ball, great ball across the pitch. He's got his ball under control here and he's played it out to Kulusevski. Now he's in that one-on-one position where it's like, when am I cutting inside? He's whipped it inside, took a deflection while he took the shot, and of course it was a goal in the end. And as you see here, what's talking about those passes in between the lines, Chelsea just found that so difficult to deal with. It was like, what's going on here? Like, there's bodies going around everywhere. But they kind of calmed down as the game got on. Their press was actually improving as the game went on, and I think they started to nick a few balls here or there, and they were getting in. And then the game got crazy after that.
Cole Palmer said, didn't he, that they were late to the second balls. And we sort of always look, in a game like that, we look for what changed, what happened that was different. And I think the only thing we can find, really, is the Udogie challenge, which might have been a red. He got a yellow card for it, but it just seemed to spark that reaction.
I mean, a ridiculous challenge. I mean, Spurs was so far ahead of Chelsea. I thought the game was going to end up 3 or 4-0 to Tottenham. I really did. I mean, to put in a challenge like that, he's a lucky boy. I think it's just the right decision, I must say, because he hasn't made contact. As I said, he's very fortunate. And it just seemed to light something up. I think there was maybe a disallowed goal not long after. There was that many.
One of the 5.
Yeah, but it just started, then challenges started going, and then it became a fight. And that's when Chelsea got themselves into it. And Spurs lost control because the football in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes was outstanding. And actually on the goal, before the goal and afterwards, I was looking at, and Chelsea all over the place, didn't know where they were positioned. And I just thought Tottenham can still take an awful lot from this game in terms of how they played 11v11 and how they sort of stayed in the game with 10 and then 9 men.
Is there an argument, though, that maybe Chelsea's best period was at 1-0, when it felt like they were going to score at any moment? They scored. This was one of the ones they had disallowed, but it felt like it was coming for Chelsea.
It did, yes. As I said, they started to get their press a little bit right at this point. I think before it was a little bit sporadic, but they started to gain a little bit more control. It was a great finish by Caicedo, obviously. It was disallowed, but to see that finish there on his weaker foot was brilliant.
Yeah, choked off because he was in an offside position and interfering with play, deemed to be. So they went looking for what happened in the incident before that. The challenge from Romero on his
what is that? What is he doing? What is he doing? I mean, he's a World Cup winner, he's an experienced player. I mean, he's up against his international teammate there as well. I mean, how many is it 4 red cards he's had?
He's had 4 red cards in 75 games, and that's more than any other player in the Premier League since he made his debut. Casemiro's next with 3.
There's so much I admire about him. I enjoy watching him play, but he's got to cut this out of his game, because you end up becoming, instead of being an asset for your team, you become a liability. And he's on sort of that borderline now, because, as I said, there's a lot to like about him as a defender, but he crosses the line far too often. He's cost his team the game tonight.
If the goal had been allowed, if they'd said, no, it's fine, it's not offside, it's not interfering, it's 1-1, is there a school of thought that perhaps VAR would not have gone back to look at the challenge?
I don't think so. I think with the way the challenge was and how aggressive it was, and it was a clear, foul, it looked like a nasty challenge when you saw it. It was like, oh, and I don't like watching it back when you see it. So I think they would have looked back at it regardless of the goal, because they see everything now. You'd like to think they see everything, and that challenge there is a nasty one, man.
It is a real interesting one. We'll never know, but the fact that ball would have, gone in, the referee hasn't blew when it's happened. So the fact the referee didn't give the decision on the pitch, it's then gone into the back of the net. I think there's probably a good chance they just say it's a goal. We sort of almost get on with the game if Fernandes is okay and we get on with it.
He was in a fantastic position. Michael Oliver right on top of the incident when it happened, but it was ultimately the VAR check that decided it was a red card offence at second look. And Cole Palmer is making a bit of a name for himself with these penalties, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. Like I said before, ice baby. Got the run up, the power from the shot takes it into the back of the net. You know what I mean? It was more about the pace of the shot than anything else. The keeper got his fingertips to it, but it was a good penalty.
Do you think at half-time there would have been a conversation in both dressing rooms about the paramount need not to lose another player?
Yeah, and you saw that from the change that was made from Pochettino half-time, you know, bringing Cucurella on for Colwill at left-back. He had to do that. I mean, some of the things Chelsea's players got involved in at times when, you know, they had the extra man. But
Spurs kept their left-back on the pitch.
Yeah, he kept him on, but you think, how are they sort of in this position again, where he finds himself in a position where he makes that challenge again? Why is he going into it? Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's just daft, absolutely daft. And he knows straight away.
And then this tactic, which I think has enthralled everybody watching tonight. It's almost like cat and mouse game that developed. This high line with 9 men. Can you explain the coaching principles behind this, Jamie?
Tottenham play with a high line. I've seen it all season, especially Crystal Palace when I watched them last Friday. And yet we're 11 men, because you've got men in front who can put pressure on the ball, you win the ball high. And listen, this is not just for Tottenham, this is lots of teams. You see Liverpool do it, you see Aston Villa do it quite a lot. But they didn't do it with 9 at Tottenham, did they, Liverpool? You know, they still, you know, they sat back. But this is my favourite. This might be my favourite clip I've ever seen. If you just run it on a little bit more, we get them all in line. And just as Reece James just about to hear this, but I mean, look at that. And we just stop at that. I mean, that is just
and
absolutely...
you actually felt for Eric Dyer, who has barely played a game all season. Now he's in a sprint race every few minutes with Nicholas Jackson.
So that's a back 7. They've only got 9 men. They've got a back 7. You know.
Let me take it the flip side of that. From an attacking principle, what is the key to getting through a high line like that?
It's those deeper runs. So you look, that one there's Cucurella, or it's about patience, combinations, in the wide positions to pull someone out, and then you make that darting run, or you're making the defence splitting passes into Jackson through the middle. So there was a lot of space there, and Chelsea were trying to figure out, how can we break this down? They started to figure it out later on, but once they were running through, there was a lot of indecisive energy. You know what I mean?
What I want to ask you about there is, because it looks so simple. When you actually think about it, you never play against that, do you? That sort of line like that, where it's almost like you don't know when to go. Yeah. Is that almost the problem? Because you're just not used to it, to time and run like that?
I think it's more about having players knowing that, OK, cool, you saw Mudryk and he played Jackson, and it was like, I know what run you're going to make, so I'm going to cut inside and do it. Or it's about patience, and it's saying, we're going to bide our time here and keep passing, keep making you move until we can find the perfect pass. So I don't think Chelsea were taking risks with the passes they were playing behind. They were trying to make sure it was the right pass to make, whereas sometimes there's players who are maybe a little bit more of a maverick who are like, I'm going to make a pass through now, I'm going to make something happen. Cole Palmer was very patient, and he wasn't forcing the passes, but he did have a few moments where he may have been able to play some balls in behind.
It took them 20 minutes against 9 men to find that breakthrough. It eventually came through Nicholas Jackson. And what's the key to this? Is the fact actually that he actually gets himself an advantage in the race because he runs into an offside position.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's something that a lot of centre forwards do. You know, they make a run, they don't get the ball, and then it gives you an advantage when that winger does get the ball play, because you have, you know, you're far ahead, a few yards ahead at least. So it was about the weight of the pass from Sterling was perfect, and he allowed for Jackson to put the ball in the back of the net with his left foot.
It was close though, wasn't it? I mean, we've seen, as you say, 5 goals chalked up. We thought we might.
Yeah, first hat-trick of his career, which we'll take a look at the moment. But let's just look at that crazy second half. We mentioned Udogie at half-time, how he's on that tightrope. So why did he make a challenge like this?
You're asking the wrong man. I'd normally be in the Sterling position here, just trying to get a toe, seeing the tackle coming in. Yeah, I mean, he's made the referee's decision very, very easy there. You don't dive in. Sterling's going away from goal. The danger was actually a few seconds earlier. Sterling should have played it left. He made a bad decision. You've almost done the hard bit now. You're now sending him away from goal. You're thinking, right, now stay on your feet. Help will come back. People will start making runs back and thickening up the numbers, and then all of a sudden you just dive in and put your team down to 9 men.
And that was 9 minutes into the second half. And then, Glenn, you were screaming throughout that second half, the high line, even with 9 men. Could you believe they continued with this?
I couldn't. No, we're going to show clip after clip. And this is so naive. I just don't get it. You've got spare men on the ball. They can play the ball in behind any time when they chose. The runners can just pick off. They're like mannequins there, Tottenham. They're all in a line. They're standing still and they're getting in time after time. It could have ended up 6 or 7, to be honest. When you look at this, in the end, I'm sitting there thinking, it's going to happen in a minute. They're going to score in a minute.
When it happened, Joe, but only quarter of an hour from the end of the 90 minutes.
It was almost Chelsea were their own worst enemies at the time. At any moment in this game, in that run of play, the ball could have been played. Eventually it happens, and this is the breakthrough goal from Jackson. But Chelsea were nervous, Steve, and I can understand why, because they would have come in for a hell of a lot of stick if they didn't beat this Tottenham team, especially when they're playing like that. I think the intelligent Chelsea players, I thought, got it. Cucurella made some good runs. Sterling made some good runs. You know, and eventually Chelsea worked it out. But it was crazy. I agree with Glenn. Like, to play that way, if we got 20 of the world's top coaches in a room and said, right, give them a Ange done. We've praised Ange, and rightly so, because he's been amazing. But I think tonight, he got it wrong. I don't know how he was thinking they were going to get back in the game.
When you're down to 9 men, you condense play. And you can't condense it with 9 men by pressing and playing so high like they do every game 11v11. So you have to condense it in your own half, on the edge of your box, make the spaces short. If you hit them on the break, you hit them on the break, and then decide maybe if you're 2-1 down, with 10 minutes, you can play like that maybe for 10 minutes. And then send people, and you try and play set plays, try and break the game up. They nearly scored from 2 set plays. Dyer got a fantastic
Well, Dyer had it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But then what about this for Son at 2-1 when he went through with 9 men?
I know, big chance, a really big chance. On his left foot, we know how lethal he is with his left foot, and it's a bit of a counter-attack. This is what Spurs should have been playing for. You're hoping for a bit of magic, an individual bit of brilliance. Doesn't quite catch it exactly how he wants, not quite in the corner, but it's a very good save and it's a big chance. But that's what you're hoping for as a Spurs fan, as a Spurs player.
And then
you're under the cosh.
24 seconds later, the game was over.
Yeah, and that high line again.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what Glenn said, about the way that they play with that high line. Look, when you're down to 9 men, you're going to have to defend. You've got a back 4. Right, and they're going to have such a difficult job, even if you defend on the back of your goal. But doing what they're doing now for this goal again, look at them, they're all sprinting. But how many times did that? Look, they're exhausted. They've had 111 minutes, however long the game was, and they've had to do probably 20 unnecessary sprints back towards their own goal. This could have been 7 or 8 at this point. And I don't blame the players. I think they give everything. And one thing I would say, they back in their manager, because they did it, even though.
I think they'll be questioning him though. In that dressing room, in the shower, chatting. They go, "Did we really have to play like that with 9 men?" The manager didn't change it. Look, Ange's done a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong, but you've got to condense the space. Before you got Højbjerg going back second half as a centre back, and you got Dyer who hasn't kicked the ball all season. And they're asked to. I felt sorry for them. They're asked to be on the halfway line and sprint back in and cope with them type of balls time and time again. It just didn't make sense to me.
OK, well, let's see what the Tottenham manager, beaten for the first time in the Premier League as the Tottenham manager, makes of it all.
There'd be bumps in the road, and sure enough tonight there was one. But in all your time in football, have you ever known anything quite like that?
Yeah, look, it's hard. It's pretty hard to process because it's almost impossible to kind of analyse the game because, it just seemed to get out of control through large parts of it, and you're left obviously disappointed with the result, but just really proud of the players' efforts. That they gave everything, and I guess that's a positive we'll take out of it.
Yeah, how big an effort was it from the guys who stayed on the pitch and the ones you brought on? How heroic?
Yeah, I mean, we're very, very close to getting an equaliser a couple of times, and it shows the spirit and character, which, to be fair to the lads, they've shown that from day one. We've had all sorts of challenges to overcome, just a bridge too far today.
You said in your first answer the game got out of control after a brilliant, maybe first 15 minutes. Why did it get out of control?
Yeah, like I said, it's hard for me to process. I thought we started really well. We scored a great goal inches away from another one and called offside. And I thought game was going as we wanted it to. And then obviously the red card sort of affected the game. And then I said it just seemed to, I don't know, I felt like I was standing around waiting for things to happen most of the game, with VAR intervention, and it just felt like, a lot of standing around.
Was it about VAR? Yeah, I think it's killing the game. It's becoming almost like an NFL game, stop start. Today there were so many incidences, but every game seems to be around VAR decisions, and it's not VAR all the time. It's the rules of the game. There's a load of things we could go a deep dive into here about offsides and things like that, but